What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Figure It Out of the Basement's Black Series talk show. I'm Nate, and today we're going to be doing the 2024 Black Series catch-up. This is continuing our annual video series where I kind of just do a quick rundown of all of the Black Series figures that I picked up this year, but I did not give a full review to for one reason or another. But it's nice to just have a bunch of those figures together in one video to have my collective thoughts on all of them. And everyone seemed to enjoy that video last year, so hey, why not do it again? And since Justin was unavailable this week, it's a topic that's getting upgraded to a straight up full-blown episode of Figure It Out. So before we jump into it, don't forget to hit like, subscribe if you are new. We're always talking about the Black Series here on the channel. Let's go ahead and get over to the review station. I'll start with the Last Command 4-pack. This set, I didn't end up giving a full review. I wanted to read the comic before I had a chance, but you know how that goes. Ended up not getting through the entire thing. I read the first few issues and it was really goofy, really cheesy, but this is still a really awesome set to see, and it's great to get more EU representation in the line. And so just out of that principle alone, I had to support this set. There is a lot of reuse going on here, but to get some of these characters was pretty cool. Just to knock them out, you know, we do have this Luke Skywalker here, which I did actually review this figure on the channel. The head print is a little bit different on this version, and he does not include the other variant chest piece, but this is a very good figure. I even think that this face is pretty good. I know I saw some people saying that they didn't really care for it, but you know, it's honestly not too bad in my opinion, and the buck that it's on is just great. So this is a fantastic figure here. We've also seen Mara released before. This time though, we do get her alt head, which is great. I thought it was kind of odd that they chose the image of her with this hood piece on for the box art on the first release, and then they didn't give her that head. So I'm glad they circled back around and they gave us this alt head. That's how I'll be displaying this version. And I am happy as well to have another Mara because my first one, her lightsaber snapped, so I'm happy that I now have a new one. And she's a pretty cool figure too. This uses the Jaina Solo body, so it actually has some pretty great articulation. One of the better female bodies in the line. However, the feet are very small and can be finicky, as I'm sure most are aware. Then we also get this weird figure. This is Luke, literally spelled L-U-U-K-E, and this is an evil clone of Luke. This figure is also a ton of reuse. Obviously, it's a new unique head, and it's certainly something. I could definitely see a villainous Mark Hamill of sorts there, but we have this blue robe that comes on the figure, and then this is an Obi-Wan body with Jabim Obi-Wan arms, and then Dagobah Luke legs. So this is like a total crazy kit bash here to create this character, and something like this is fun to me. This is just like a really random silly idea, you know, a clone, an evil clone of Luke Skywalker. How much, you know, more unserious could you possibly get, even for Star Wars? Like, by Star Wars standards, even that's pretty out there if you ask me. So still though, fun. Who would have ever thought we would get this character in the Black Series? And I actually do really like the lightsaber. It's got a really nice vibrant blue blade, and the hilt is well detailed too. So yeah, Luke is a figure. I guess that's what I could say. I don't have any attachment to this character here. So for now, he's evil Luke in a blue robe, wearing mostly Obi-Wan's clothes. And I saved the best for last. Easily, Joruus C'baoth is the star of this set. Space Wizard Alan Moore. This guy does seem to actually be a pretty interesting character. I'd like to say maybe I'll pick the comic book back up, but knowing me, I'm probably never going to touch it again. Unfortunately, that's okay. I think, you know, a lot of the appeal of Star Wars collecting is just picking up characters that you think look cool, and I think this guy looks pretty cool. He's a space wizard of sorts. I believe he's actually some kind of Jedi initially. And I know there is an actual novel that it's based off of too, but this set is specifically based with comic book art, so that's why I was reading the comic version of it. But we do get some new on Joruus, which is pretty cool to see them do some new sculpt work for a character like this. And he does actually have Lando legs, which is pretty interesting, and with new feet. Joros lets them dogs bark for real. But I really do love the head sculpt here. I think this looks amazing. They put a nice wash in the beard too, which looks fantastic. And there is a slight one in the hair too, don't get me wrong, but it's more prevalent on the actual facial hair. And we do have his gold necklace here too, so this looks exactly like the character. And we have these alt lightning hands, and then you do get the regular hands, and you get a lightsaber with him too, this red one. But yeah, I think he's definitely destined to be posed, you know, shooting the lightning in the air like the classic book art. So that's probably how I'll have him displayed here. So yeah, I think this is a pretty cool set. Definitely something for the diehards. And like I said earlier, more EU representation is always a good thing. Next up, let's talk the Target exclusive droid 3-pack with R5-D4 and 2 pit droids. There is also a BD1 included with this set, but I seriously have so many BD1s out on display that I just left it in the box. I also do have an R5 already, so this is my second one here. So for me, the draw of this set was being able to finally get the pit droids. I have been waiting a very, very long time to get my hands on these figures. I did not pick up that multi-pack from Galaxy's Edge just because it was really expensive and there was too many reused figures in there for me. So this was a great way to actually get this set, and thankfully it went on sale even before it came out. So a lot of us, myself included, got a really nice discount on this initially. But yeah, I think it just got lost in the shuffle, so I ended up not having time to review it. And then by the time I did, it was way past its relevancy. So here we are, including these on the Black Series catch-up, and the pit droids are a blast. So much fun articulation, double elbows. They are just totally a blast. I've been having so much fun with these ever since I've opened them up. I think you can get them into a lot of great poses. They are definitely a little finicky for sure, but you know, any tiny little droid like this, there's going to be some issues with it just because of the design itself. So far though, I think they stand up pretty easily. And this one looks pretty cool too, a little bit more of a unique paint color scheme. I'm just going to be throwing these in my Phantom Menace display anyway, even though these are actually the ones that we see in The Mandalorian. To me, you know, a pit droid is kind of a pit droid, so these are going in my Phantom Menace display for sure. These will be a lot of fun, especially with that new SH Figuarts Jar Jar. Let's hope we get a Watto soon, and then we can really build out some fun scenes, including these. And the one unique thing I do want to show off on R5 is, of course, they did not glue the side panels in, and he comes with these fun rocket boosters. There's a Revenge of the Sith inspired R2-D2 coming out in the near future, and I'm totally suspecting that we're going to get these with R2, so that'll be awesome. But it is nice to see how these work, and the rocket booster piece is removable, as you saw as it flung off here, so you can have them not firing or firing. Now let's move on to a pack of figures that I'm not having so much fun with. And here we are with the Jedi Survivor Droid 3-pack. And yes, you heard me right. I'm actually a little disappointed here. Not in the amazing, fantastic, incredible Super Battle Droid here. Perfectly engineered, perfectly designed, now with rocket arm. This figure is great. I love this. No complaints. Happy to have another Super Battle Droid. However, these two have just been really grinding my gears. The Magna Guard here, I must have gotten really, really lucky with my first two Magna Guards in terms of the QC issues here. But this one has a really bad shoulder pad that pops off constantly. Like, you can't even look at it, and it pops off. So that's unfortunate to see. That is still an issue with this figure, and my copy is just particularly bad. On top of that, my ankles on here are just totally locked up, so I really can't get them to move at all. So I'm gonna have to give him a little bit of a hot water bath at the moment, but you know, I like to review figures pretty much out of the package, no adjustments made to them. I also think this hood here is a little big and ridiculous, and there goes the shoulder pad. I haven't been able to quite figure out how to sit it quite right, especially if I want to have the head turned to the side. It's going to end up, you know, always having this sort of effect on it. So a little finicky here for my tastes, and I honestly can't wait to just put this in a permanent pose and not really ever think about it again. And same thing, unfortunately, with this battle droid here. The joints are nice and tight, but the weapon that is included, which is a unique new sculpt, love the inclusion, looks very awesome. Also appreciate the paint app details on the blade.
of course, the B1 wasn't really designed to hold this. So he doesn't really hold on to it well. You can really only get him to do like some very vanilla basic posing with it. The left hand is just a little too open to also just have any like meaningful grip. So yeah, it's just a little bit more finicky than I was hoping for, especially since they tightened the joints really well on this release. But unfortunately, the weapon here is just a little too weird and out of scale. So posing it has been a little bit more tedious than I would have liked. So yeah, these two figures are they're just really finicky, and I thought they were going to be a lot more fun, but unfortunately, I've just come away from messing around with these two just frustrated more than anything, in all honesty. However, the Super Battle Droid, still wonderful. Still wonderful. Never change. This next figure, I legitimately just forgot to cancel my pre-order, and she arrived, and I kept her because I actually ended up really liking the figure. So we got Jackie here from the dreaded Acolyte, a show that I really didn't care for at all. I thought the lightsaber fights were cool, and some characters like Jackie and Yord and Keimer were pretty awesome as well. However, ultimately, I thought the show dragged on and didn't really have any like meaningful storyline or story to tell in general, which is unfortunate because the High Republic era is a cool time in Star Wars that I would love to see explored. But as we all know, the Acolyte has been canceled. So the one season is all we get. So we'll never know how good the show maybe could have been with a season 2. I think, just having a little bit more time with the characters and fleshing things out could have really helped turn around my enjoyment of the series. But I'm going to keep Jackie. She's cool. Brand new sculpt. Unique alien as well. And like I said, she was one of the characters I actually really enjoyed in the show. So she'll stick around on the shelf. And we'll round things out here with these next 4 figures. These were all in the same wave. So we have the Imperial Commando, we have Ahsoka Thrawn, Cassian from Season 2 of Andor, and the fearsome Dedra Meero. And what a solid wave of figures here. Even the new Ahsoka, which I didn't pick up because I'm personally waiting for a version that includes the cloak. I've messed with it though in hand, and she is also fantastic. So this was just a really strong Black Series wave here. We'll talk Dedra here first. She is a good chunk of reuse from Tala, which we pretty much expected. However, she is actually surprisingly new. There is, of course, a new overlay and skirt piece, but the legs and arms are the same. And, of course, the head is different here, but I'm down for more Imperial officers always. It's really cool to finally get a female officer in the line that actually has a substantial role since, Tala is technically in disguise in Kenobi, and she's just a really great character. She was one of the best moments of Andor. I just loved her attitude, and they did an excellent job on the figure. The likeness is incredible, one of the strongest of the year easily. And while her face is a little shiny, it does definitely appear to be more matte than some other recent figures, so that's always a plus in my book. You do get her data pad, which is actually nicely detailed. However, I do think we could have got something on the screen there, And she does also come with a blaster pistol that is painted. So look at that. Dedra here is going to look awesome on my Imperial display. We'll move on to Cassian, who's also a really fantastic figure. Again, brand new sculpt, amazing likeness to Diego Luna, really strong stuff. Even on my copy, which has a QC issue, one of the eyes is printed higher than the other one, so he looks a little weird, but just incredible stuff here. This is 100% going to be my definitive Cassian for the shelf. And as far as everyone says, not only does this outfit appear in Andor Season 2, but this is what he wears at the beginning of Rogue One, so that's also awesome. And a dark part of me kind of wants this figure to go on clearance so I could get a couple more of these heads and put them on my other Cassians, because that likeness is incredible. And the articulation is a blast too on Cassian. You get 2 blasters with him. One's reuse. The other one is completely new. This one in the holster here. Paint on both of them. Love that new media treatment where you get the new sculpt. You get the paint on the blasters, paint on the figure. And he is pretty much everything you'd come to expect from a modern Black Series figure. Still has hinged wrists, so you could tell he was in the pipeline for a little bit. But everything else is here. Butters, ankle pivot, nice deep single elbows. This Cassian is definitely much better, in my opinion, than that Paul McCartney looking one that they did for Season 1. So I'll be happy to replace that with this updated version. Ahsoka Thrawn is also a very strong figure. Great likeness to the actor. The face is a little shiny, but again, I feel like it's not as shiny as some recent figures. So he looks pretty good. We got the dad bod here, which is rockin'. I'm glad that they gave us a new torso here. This figure is actually brand new head to toe, which that also brings us some exciting possibilities for new male Imperial officers, maybe some updates to some of the older ones. But again, they knocked this figure out of the park. It looks great. I really only think my minor nitpick would be in the show we see that, you know, his costume has little rips, tears, all that kind of stuff going throughout. I would have liked to see some of that on this, because this is just a very clean, you know, no damage to the suit or anything like that, which is not how we see him in the show. Once we see him, you know, he's been wearing this uniform for a while, so it's got some snags to it, and I would have liked to see that translated into the sculpt. I know they could have done it, but this figure still does look great. I mean, don't get me wrong. Really nice paint app details, really clean paint apps, which is awesome. We get an expressive hand here, not a C grip, which is absolutely, I mean, I guess it's kind of a C grip, but you know what I mean. It's not the traditional Black Series C grip, and that is awesome. This is the kind of stuff we need in the line, something that's going to be a little bit more expressive, and it totally is. You do get a blaster with a little bit of paint on it. The new legs are really nice as well. Pinless with the nice hidden joint. No thigh swivel, but enough is there, so this new Thrawn is pretty awesome. I'm digging him. Only other mild complaint is I really feel like the neck articulation is pretty limited this time around. Not too much movement there. And last, but certainly not the least, is the Imperial Armored Commando. This is a fun new trooper design. One of the best, I think, to come out of the new modern Disney Plus era. For the most part, this figure is also a total blast. It's really nicely detailed. The head is definitely a little peanut-ish. I think in certain poses, like looking down, it's not too bad. Kind of turn the torso to the side too. It can really help mask how tiny the head is, but from the front, yeah, it looks a little small. Sits a little high too, so maybe if they just would have lowered it, it would have helped as well, but I do think the helmet could have also been just a little bit bigger. But they did a great job on the details, everything. We have weapon storage for the, once again, painted blasters. You love to see it. Of course, I am going to have some other minor nitpicks here with the figure. Once again, here is the knee issue. Why is this still happening in the line? We've known it's an issue. They've acknowledged that it is an issue and have actually taken steps to fix it on clone troopers and certain other figures. But this is a brand new figure, and yet here we are back to the same issue where the knee pad is glued to the thigh instead of the knee itself. So if you have the knee bent, it just looks dumb. That just doesn't look right. That's not how people wear knee armor. And I don't think it really would have been that hard to take this piece, don't glue it here, glue it down here, and it would have been fine. They've done that many times in the past, and it's just frustrating to see them do it again after they've already acknowledged that it is a genuine issue. My other gripe here is the thigh swivel. It's really bad. That is horrible. They should have 100% put thigh swivel on this figure. They could have easily, you know, cut it at the joint like they have for many, many troopers in the past, and it looks perfectly fine. But for a trooper, you want to have as much articulation, as much freedom and movement as you can, especially in the hips, and something like that definitely hinders the posability of this figure. Still a fun figure, has some great articulation. You could absolutely get the commando to aim down the sights, no problem at all, which is always important when a character is holding a two-handed blaster, so no worries there. Let's see, this is what I'm talking about. I need to have that thigh swivel here to swing the leg a little bit for more of a natural sort of spread-legged shooting pose, and I can't get that. So little things like that definitely bug me about this figure, but I do still think overall it's a great release and certainly worth having if you're a fan of the design or you cared for Mando Season 3, which I did not. However, love a cool trooper, so here we are.
And so there you have it. There was our Black Series 2024 catch-up. There were so many fantastic figures this year. We were finally getting a lot of prequel love. And Justin and I are absolutely here for it, but it has been great to see the nice mix that we've seen as well. Tons of gaming greats. We've got some EU figures, plenty of new media. I think we could have used a little bit more original trilogy this year, but obviously their focus was on the prequels. And as we've said all year long, prequel fans have been eating good. So 2024, another amazing year for the Black Series. Could be the best ever, in all honesty. We'll have to really debate that over the next coming weeks. But yeah, this was a fantastic year. The line is alive and well, despite what some so-called toy collectors online would like to have you believe. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you are new. We're always talking about Star Wars The Black Series here on the channel. And if you're in a position to help support us directly, we do also offer a couple different channel membership tiers. Check those out in the description down below. And while you're there, join the Discord. That is totally, completely free to join. Just got to make an account, and it's a great way to get connected with the community. Of course, we have to give a huge shout out and a special thank you to all of our current channel members. Your continued support is truly appreciated, and thank you to everyone else out there for watching. I'm Nate, not joined with Justin, but I will see you all next time. I miss my Pookie.